If you had to guess, I've not shared the numbers with you. If you had to guess, and they're very consistent, regular season to playoffs, what do you think is the most effective defense? And this is points per chance. So this is like legitimately it doesn't matter who scores. Do the Mavs score? It doesn't matter if Luka scores. Points per chance. What do you think is the most effective by the numbers?
By the numbers?
Guarding Luka and pick and roll.
By the numbers, I would say blitz. Yeah, I would say blitz. And the reason I say blitz is because I look at the other two, and it's not switching. Because they don't run many small pick and rolls. They run a lot of 1-5 pick and rolls, when it comes to, because the 5 is, usually not as mobile or whatever, not as agile. So they try to bring the 5 up, and they have those 2 lob threats, which Luka loves. So I know that switching is not it. We saw that at the end of game 2 in the Western Conference Finals. And then dropping pick and rolls, he's just too big. Luka's too big at his frame and his size. You drop his pick and roll, he gets the hostage, puts you in jail, and now you're asking the big to make the decisions on, should I help up? Should I give ground? Soon as you help up, lob to Gafford Lively or corner kick pass to the three-pointer. So I'm guessing, I just did process of elimination, JJ. I will say blitz and place the onus on the 5-man in the short road to make a play. And let's see if Lively and Gafford and, Dwight Powell played a little bit because of, obviously, Lively's injury, in game 4 or game 3. So I would say that. You live with those chances.
Okay, so you are correct. By the numbers. And actually, these numbers are remarkably consistent. Regular season playoffs versus drop coverage, points per chance, they get right around 1.10, so 110 points per 100. Versus switch, the worst option. You were correct on that as well. Right in between 112 per 100 in the playoffs and 115 versus a switch per 100 in the regular season. In the regular season versus a blitz, and he was the most blitz player in the NBA, 0.97. So 97 points per 100 per chance against a blitz. And it gets even worse in the playoffs, 0.67. And he is the most blitz player in the playoffs. It's interesting thinking about Drew specifically and his size. I think there's a similarity with Lou Dort that it's not like you're going to have to blitz all the time. Lou, the way Lou got into the basketball and fought over screens and used his strength and size, it kind of matched Luka in some ways.
Yeah.
Drew's a smaller player, but he has those same physical qualities. So I don't think it's going to be like necessary where you got to blitz Luka all the time. I'm sure at times they'll mix it up.
Yep.
Boston, by the way, I want to say, I don't have the exact number, I want to say they blitzed around 3% of all pick and rolls this year. They are not a blitz team.
No, they're a heavy switch team.
Yeah. And two, and some of that, if it's with the 5 and the X5, you got Derek White and Drew Holiday, you trust those guys. Your point, though, I think is the most important thing to me is Luka as a decision maker is one of the best in the game. Even against a blitz, he can make the pass that leads to a shot. I mean, there was one play, he comes off a blitz to his right hand in the high slot and makes a wraparound baseball pass on time, on target to the opposite corner.
Yep.
Like, there's 5 guys in the world that can make that pass.
Yep.
But by taking the ball out of his hands, that's not going to be every time you blitz. That he's going to have the pass that leads to a shot. You are creating a decision for someone else to make. And I think that's the important point.
That's the important thing. And I believe that just watching that end of the game, I hate to keep harping on Rudy, but, them switching that pick and roll at the end of game 2, I would have been okay with the switch, but I wouldn't have been okay with not now firing to get the ball out of his hand.
Switch to blitz.
Switch to blitz. You know, kind of, because, you know, you get the switch, and when Luka sees the big on him, his eyes get like this. So now Luka backs up. He backs up because he's now, okay, I'm about to get into my shit. But as soon as he was about to get into his shit, I would have sent another defender right away. You know, not only does it make, you know, a second guess to Luka. Obviously, he's seen everything, but it takes time off the clock. And then ultimately, what we all care about is getting the ball in somebody else's hands. I mean, obviously, if it's Kyrie, the next guy, he's just as dangerous as well. But, you know, you take your chance when it comes to Luka versus 5 or the rest of the field versus the rest of the field.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch that play again, after the screen was set, I think it was Lively. They cut down essentially the middle of the paint, and Jaden McDaniels went with them, and there was a split second where I was like, yo, he's going to go double. He's going to go double. And he didn't do it. When we played Kawhi in 19, when he was on the Raptors and I was on the Sixers, by like game 3 or 4, we were like, this guy, he's killing single coverage.
Yeah.
And so rather than like, you know, me showing or James, you know, it's like, let's just switch it. And then as the guy cuts through, just go with him for a second and then switch to blitz. I'm not saying we had a great success with that, but at least it was something we could do. I think at the end of the game, that's something that you have to have in your bag. That is absolutely something you have to have in your bag. I'm like, if Luka's ISO'd at the top of the key against anybody in the world, this is not a knock on Gobert, Luka's going to get a good shot off.
Absolutely.
He's going to get a makeable shot off.